A beautiful day awaits these drivers tonight as we approach just 3 races left to go in the regular season. And with that, we say good evening, sim racing fans from the Iowa Speedway, host of round 6 of the iRacing Bundren Lawn Care Series in this 2020 campaign. So glad to have you with us on a gorgeous afternoon in Iowa, and we're ready to bring you all the action here in the booth, of course, with Charlie Baier. My name is Kenneth Bueno, and now I want to mention the elephant in the room. There's 3 races left in this regular season. Of course, the regular season ends at Las Vegas, but now we still got racing to do here at Iowa. Charlie, how is this race more of a key race compared to the other short tracks we've seen this season?
Yeah, this race is pretty key for those guys who are currently sitting, who are not really happy with their point standings right now. This is a good chance for them to make up a bit of ground, and we'll start to see the last final spots for the chase start to play out here. So it'll be lots of slicing and dicing for those points, but it should be an interesting one for sure.
And speaking of the point standings, now it is the time that these points continue to dwindle down as these guys get closer and closer. We'll look at the point standings right on your screen. Blaze Mckinney continues dominating season with a 136 point tally right now in first place, just 50 points ahead of second place Kilo Hankins. These guys are going to have some ground to make up tonight and through race 9. But so far, you see Curtis Granger 3rd, Ryan Potter 4th, Parker White is the first guy, 60 points out of the point standings lead. Glenn Bundren, Grayson Trexler, JJ Hale, and Kelan Belsha of the newly formed Instagram Buds Racing team, and Carl Faust, who sits 77 points out of the race of the points lead, right now as it stands. And if you're one of those drivers who's had a tough couple of weeks, these past couple of weeks at these tracks, and you come here at Iowa looking for a fresh start, what kind of strategy do you have to play to kind of carve your way into this points gap?
Yeah, it'll take a toll on these drivers for sure, and especially with a track like this, it's very loose around these corners. It kind of reminds me of Richmond, how much you want to push these cars off of exit. And yeah, it's a tire chewer for sure, and tires will really come into play here. And we don't have as big of a field, so we might have a good green flag run, but yeah, I would definitely wouldn't put that out of the picture. So yeah, tires are going to be important tonight, and it'll come down to who can save them the best.
For sure, and you and I talked before the top of the broadcast. We were talking about this kind of track and how it's similar to some of the other short tracks we saw, and you mentioned Richmond Raceway, which is kind of like this track in a way. They have the same sort of shape. Of course, Richmond is a smaller track. This one is much larger. There's a little more space out here to play around with, but this track is still a beast of its own. It's still a unique track out here in the state of Iowa, and it's going to be fun to see how these drivers manage that right now. So warm-up is just about gone through. We have a couple of drivers already putting their times in, all drivers getting their laps already, and you see Blaze McKinney across the finish line, a couple of drivers getting their way through the front straightaway. And with that, we're going to take you down trackside as the pre-race ceremonies begin, and that means we'll take you down to the national anthem as they salute your nation's colors. Well, I'm going to have to answer your mom's question. We are ready for a great night here at Speedway, and what a season we've had already. We've already had 5 races of full intensity. We saw Blaze McKinney's dominance. We saw last week Jackson Hartman's unbelievable victory at Michigan after passing him in the last couple laps. And now that we're talking about this season, I want to talk about kind of what's going down the road when it comes down to this regular season. I mentioned there's 3 races left in this regular season, and I mentioned how that'll affect the points, but we don't really reach a short track all the way up to race 13, and that'll be Martinsville Speedway. That's a playoff race. But if you're one of these guys in these points, these 3 races are key, and that'll be Charlotte next week. That'll be a night race, 100 laps. Darlington, then Las Vegas. Do you think there's going to be any sort of strategy now that this is kind of the last short track before the playoffs?
Yeah, and something about these short tracks, I just feel like it's really put into the driver's hands, and it really comes down to driver's skill. So I think this is really one last shot for these guys to really show their driver's skill. And when we go back to the mile-and-a-half tracks or the bigger race tracks, it's definitely a different ball game. So I think that everyone's going to be fighting for these playoff spots, and it's going to be a really good battle.
It is going to be intense. And one of the drivers who's been in the competition is the man you're seeing on the screen right now, has been in the competition the past couple of weeks. That's Parker White on your screen, the number 95 Toyota Camry, driving a new paint scheme this time around. He drove Procore car just a couple of weeks ago, but now he's changed up the style. He's looking for a better run here tonight, and Parker White has had just a tough season altogether. He's had great runs. He's put together some really strong runs in the past couple of races, and he hasn't been able to get it done. He hasn't been able to execute. He's just got caught into trouble, and it's been tough for him. You're looking at Casey Drake on the racetrack, getting their fastest 2 laps on the racetrack, and we'll set the grid. Just about 45 seconds left in this qualifying session, and a handful of new drivers in our session tonight. We have Jonathan Jones making his debut in the iRacing Bundren Lawn Care Series. Some guys who are returning: Will Reichard, who missed last week at Michigan, he showing up once again. Andy McDowell, Dane Cruz among the peak performance drivers. And I know that we're kind of familiar with these peak performance drivers, especially you, since you know them personally. Now, with this kind of debut race in the iRacing Bundren Lawn Care Series, what do you really expect from them tonight?
Yeah, and we're already a good bit into the season. A lot of these guys who are showing up, a lot of new people, and like you said, Dylan Parker is also, I believe, a first-time racer tonight. So yeah, these guys are going to come out swinging. They know they don't really have to be conservative and try to maintain a good distance to how to make it in the playoffs. They're going to come out swinging, and they're going to try to go for the win. I mean, that's only what I can assume.
Yeah, PPM, one of the newer teams. Of course, you mentioned how late it was in the season, but they can still kind of set a fire of their own in this series and kind of put some times down and put some laps and really show these guys some performance tonight. No pun intended there. But now that qualifying is just about wrapped up, that means we can get to your starting grid for tonight's Iowa race, and we are excited to bring that, and we'll get you to the front row where Blaze McKinney leads the field once again at 23.867. He sets the fastest time tonight. Outside of him on row 1 will be the 04, looking for a better run tonight. He starts second tonight.
And starting in your second row, Keaton Jones ran a really good race at Michigan, but unfortunately had a bit of technological issues, so he got shut out of that one early. He was definitely contender, but glad to see him back here at Iowa. But to his outside is Sartaj Man in that 49 car.
Bringing up row number 3 will be the 77 of Curtis Granger, rocking a new paint scheme tonight, along with Andy McDowell making his first start tonight in the 21. He starts on the outside of row 3.
And right behind him in row number 4, Dane Cruz, another first-time racer racing for PPM. Starting on the inside row until his outside, the 20 car, Evo Sim Sports SPG racing car of Shane DiMantova.
Coming to row 5, we bring a Parker White, who we mentioned in the qualifying session, and Jonathan T. Jones start in the iRacing Bundren Lawn Care Series. He starts to the outside of row 5.
Starting up behind him, first-time racer Dylan Parker, another experienced driver. I feel like he was really fast in practice and he could show up later in the race. But to his outside, Colton Lights in the 015 car, starting 12th.
Row 7 will feature the 013 of KC Drake, along with the number 2 of Caden Atkins, and performance driver.
And in row number 8, the 017 car of Darren Myers. To his outside, league owner, grass cutter himself, Glenn Bundren, in the 37 car that's going to ride out in row number 8.
See row number 9, you find Ryan Potter, who's looking for a good point stay tonight, alongside JJ Hill in the 08. He starts outside of row 9, number 18.
And that's going to round out your starting grid here. We have a few cars back there. I see William Schmidt, Kelan Belsha going to round out row number 9, and the 19 car, last week's winner, Jackson Hartman, and to his outside, the 16 car of Henry Tabor. That's going to round out your starting lineup. Just over 20 cars starting out here today, and I can't wait to get into this one. Iowa's a really fun racetrack, and I love this place. Lots of close racing, so it's going to be an exciting one for sure.
There is a lot of excitement to be brought here at Iowa Speedway. I think we're just going to get the 1 to green signal, and we'll take the green flag very soon. As soon as they got out of pit road, they're probably going to take the green flag right here. Pace car will come down, and he'll go one more lap, and we'll get this set up. I almost thought it was going to be kind of just straight on, but it was kind of confusing me. It was not straight on, but look who's back up in the pole position. Blaze Mckinney once again. We mentioned the bounty last week, and he lost that bounty to the 19 of Jackson Hartman, who beat him in the last couple of laps in Michigan. He's looking for a better night tonight, and considering the fact that his mom's birthday is on Wednesday, so he's going to try to get that win tonight for her in the number 87 Chris Lilly Designs Chevrolet Camaro. They go down the back straightaway. We have our first question down in the booth. We're just going to answer that before we go. Green says, "Hi guys, I'm wondering what makes this track interesting and different. Also, have either of you guys actually traveled to the state of Iowa?" Charlie, before we go green.
Yeah, this track, it's different for sure. Again, it reminds me of just a bigger Richmond. You want to push these cars off with the corner, but it also burn your tires. But the next question there in that message, I have been to Iowa before, and I drove past the Speedway, but I haven't been to the actual racetrack before. But that's going to conclude our pace laps here, and green flag is going to come out here. Pace car rolls off in the hands of Blaze Mckinney. He's going to lead him to the green flag, and we are underway here at Iowa.
Looks to be clean through 1 and 2. We see some battles brewing up for second place. Jones 4. The 04 is going to hang around the top, and some guys on the bottom just screech out. We got a car around. Keaton Jones around in turn 4. As soon as I say that he was going down position, he goes around the racetrack. Looks to be no significant damage to the 62. We're going to try to see what happened there on that start. Already a caution on lap 1. Not something we're unfamiliar with here in the Bundren Lawn Care Series with the short tracks this season. We'll take a replay, see exactly what went down. It looked like Keaton Jones is going to try to make a battle for the lead, but I think some contact with the 87. The 87 almost goes around. He was able to keep it together, but the 62 on the unlucky side of things, he ends up going around in turn 3, and already the first collects two of the strongest drivers we've seen this season. They collect on lap 1. That'll bring the field to, I believe, it'll be Sartaj, Man, 49, Ezekiel Reyes. They will end up first row, and boy, already some tough situation for Blaze Mckinney. He's able to keep it straight, but already tough for him.
Yeah, and that was really unexpected, but I think that was just, guys are trying to situate themselves really early, and I wouldn't really place the blame on any of those drivers. It's really it's a tough call for sure. I don't really know who to place the blame on there, but at the conclusion of that, Sartaj Man in the 49 car is out front here, so just a tough situation. And I believe Blaze Mckinney tagged the outside wall with his rear end, so I don't know if he has a little bit of damage there, but again, just a tough situation to be in on lap 1.
Yeah, already tough for Blaze Mckinney. He doesn't fall too back in the... Suffered the most out of that one, and you see the 87, he'll dip down pit road to get some of the damage fixed. You mentioned that he kind of tapped the wall going into turn 4, and then now he's going down to pit road to get his service repaired. He'll be right back out on the track. Not too much damage on that 87. It looks fairly clean, just a little tap on the back bumper there for the 87. But now they're on the caution on lap 3. I kind of was thinking about the racetrack, and when I saw Keaton Jones kind of go in that lane that he was going in, I kind of thought about the lanes at this racetrack that I didn't really mention before. The lanes at this racetrack kind of change over the tire run, especially guys going all the way to the yellow line. those guys can try to drift up. You think we might see some of that action if we get the long green flag run? It's a long race.
Oh yeah, and one of the things I like about Iowa is just the diversity in the lanes you could run. And, you know, it can be used as a high line track and it can be used as a low line track. It kind of reminds me of Bristol, but the ideal line here is you want to go high on entry and you want to try to arc it down and try to get to the bottom on corner exit. That's the ideal line here, but obviously side by side, both lines are pretty much equal. So that's what I really like about here, and you know, it gives these guys a choice, and it makes the racing really good around here, especially you know, and really all NASCAR series. Like in real life, the Xfinity series and the Truck series go here, but I think if Cup took a shot here in real life, I think it'll be really good.
Yeah, and these, I mean, we're already trying the Cup cars here. I think real life would be pretty interesting, considering the fact that they go to Richmond. You know, this track could play host. I know I've seen Xfinity races here. They've been super good. They've been very fun to watch, and especially here on iRacing, it is very, very fun to go around this racetrack. I've never actually driven them myself, but from what I've seen, it seems like a lot of fun. So now they're on a caution lap 1. That'll bring us to, I believe, a restart on lap 7. The pace lights are still on that pace truck, on that iRacing pace truck. So we'll go one more time around, see if they give the 1 to green signal this time. And, you know, we were talking about the new drivers. We saw the PPM guys. And how about Instagram Buds Racing, a newly formed team? Dr. Pepper Esports seemed to go out of business. And looks like Instagram Buds Racing is on the rise. Signed JJ Hill, Kelan Belsha among the drivers that are in the team. I'm actually part of the team myself in other series that I drive in, but for here, obviously not. But now that it's a new team, I really don't know how to say anything. I mean, they're close friends of ours, so a new team, new possibilities for those guys out there. But still, Dr. Pepper Esports logo on the 18. Still very cool.
Yeah, and you know, I used to own Dr. Pepper Esports, and you know, it just didn't work. Unfortunately, I had to shut that team down, but you know, it's all right. All those guys are good friends. I'm good friends with them. They'll understand. So they went off and formed a new team without me. So it's tough, but yeah, that's just the way it is.
All right, well, before we go green here, if you want to join the conversation, tag KBRN to ask any questions to us in the booth, whether it's about the race, about the track, about the series, about anything for us up in the booth, we'll be sure to answer that when you ask it in the YouTube chat. But right now, we are focused on that iRacing pace truck as it'll dip down pit road. We'll take the green flag on a restart for the first time tonight. Sartaj man, Curtis Granger leads them to green, and already got in the Dane Cruz. Looks to be a tangle up between the 77 and the 46. Caution flies once again. Some damage. Some guys trying to get away from the wreck. I think the 08 might have collected that as well. And more tangle ups here early in the running. Another caution here on the racetrack. We'll take a replay.
Yeah, and this is coming to the green here, and yeah, you know, like I said, Iowa is just a really iffy track, and you know, these low downforce packages, it looks like Curtis Granger just couldn't get the grip that he needed to get going, and just puts the 46 in the wall, yeah. Collects the 3 car. That's a tough spot to be in for sure, and obviously a lot more cars piling in. There's the 08 car, the 16 car down on the grass, and yeah, that's just tough. You know, obviously these guys are urgent to get going. We've already been under a caution and had to go through the caution laps. And he just couldn't find the grip to get those tires going, and unfortunately it costed him and a few others. There's a Kelan Belsha around. Pretty much the entirety of Instagram Buds Racing is collected in that.
Yeah, it's, oh my goodness. As soon as I mentioned Instagram Bundren Racing, they seem to get into trouble early. I really can't say anything on the broadcast without jinxing something at some point. I did it last week at Michigan when I said Nick Miller was my favorite. Then Nick Miller ends up in a wreck. And now this, I really can't catch a break here on KBRN. I think I'm just going to leave my opinions to the side and just let Charlie introduce everything. But it's kind of odd that the 77 got tangled up early in the run. I get the run, but I don't think there was some tire spin. I know that these tires are fairly fresh, so there's not really much to spin in terms of how the tires being worn down. It's kind of an odd incident there for the 77 of Curtis Granger. Probably didn't expect the green flag. Probably didn't expect the jump from the leader. That probably kind of messed up his routine there. But another caution here on lap 9. We suffer the second caution of the night already. Remember, our record is just about I believe 17 or 19 cautions is our record here in the iRacing Bundren Lawn Care Series. And if this continues to be the trend, we might see this go on possibly for longer right now. But we'll be pacing around right now as they stand. You see, I think that's Blaze Mckinney, who's stuck down on the front straightaway. He might be stopped, might be waiting for somebody to pass. Not sure whether that's the case. He's kind of stopped there on the front straightaway now. He's refired. He's going to get back up. I think it was just an iRacing deal with letting guys go and kind of getting the positions all set up before we go back green. But now to talk about Sartaj, man, I don't want to jinx it. I'm just talking to the audience about who this 49 car is. Sartaj, man, ran a couple races this season. I've raced with him personally. Currently, obviously in first after what happened the past couple of laps. He's started fourth, already started pretty well in that Toyota Camry there, Peak Performance Motorsports. And right behind him looks to be Ezekiel Reyes. Ezekiel Reyes, I want to talk about him because he had a rough week last week at Michigan. He's had some good runs. He had a really good, strong run at Homestead. He finished third. And then Michigan came around and kind of bit him. And he kind of struggled a little bit there. But now he starts on the outside of row 1. Could be a possible opportunity if we get a longer green flag run. We'll see where they stand. You see Shane DiMantova right there on the outside of row 2. There'll be the 21 of Andy McDowell. He'll be there, and those will be the first 2 rows to bring the field to the green flag once again in our second restart here at Iowa. Boy, we're going to have to go through one once again. It's kind of tough for these drivers to maneuver through all these cautions, especially after a lot of damage. So we'll see exactly what goes down, but we'll watch the pace truck once again. He'll go down road. We'll take the second restart and the third green flag of the day, including that initial start. Sartaj, man, will put the foot down on the gas pedal. He'll lead the field to green. We are green back at Iowa lap number 12.
Yeah, and with these races, I've noticed a trend is at the start we get a few hiccups and a few cautions, but we do get a green flag run. So hopefully that sticks tonight, but the 47 of Sartaj, man, led them to the green on the green flag, but Ezekiel Reyes is not too far back.
Yeah, he caught him big time going into turn 3, and you see the 49 using line. You mentioned the 2 lines. It is working tonight. Andy McDowell. Looks like the top 3 kind of split themselves from the rest of the field for now. You see a battle for what looks to be like 4th place. That's Parker White and Shane DiMantova. They're battling coming off the back straightaway. They're keeping it clean, though.
Yeah, and good race for sure back here, but like you said, these top 3 are spreading out. We see some 3 wide during up the track. I believe that he just pushed the 2 car up the check, the 017 did. But yeah, that's the racing back there. But up front, these 3 cars have split themselves away from the pack, put them under a blanket, if you will, but they're going for the lead pretty hard.
Yeah, Andy McDowell utilizing that high lane to his advantage on the 04 of Ezekiel Reyes. Can't get it quite there, but now he dives into turn 3. 3 wide for the race lead on lap 14 already early on. The 04 making the move down the inside. They're going to go side by side going into turn 1, diving it deep.
Yeah, and you know, this track is known for those slide jobs, as we see, and I believe it happened in the Xfinity race and the truck races in real life here. I believe Noah Gregson took a huge dive for the race lead, and you know, we also saw it in the Peak Antifreeze Series All-Star race last year. You know, and a bit of hiccup for the 04 car, but yeah, this track it can produce some really good finishes.
And it's producing some good racing right now between these guys. The guy behind them looks to be right there behind the 04. I'm not sure whether that's for position. That's the 3 car behind them. He's going to look to the bottom of the 04. Then goes Shane DiMantova. Looks to be Casey Drake. Those guys also battling. Here's the battle brewing up for 3rd place. But right now, that's just allowing that 49 to continue to grow the gap on the race lead coming out of turn 2.
And that 3 car is a lap car there. Dylan Parker 1 lap down right now. He's trying to get his lap back here, but he's slicing through it pretty well. But Sartaj man has put himself up front and has a pretty solid lead so far. But Andy McDowell made the pass for the 2nd position over Ezekiel Reyes. No, back end starts to step out as these tires goes down here off of the corner.
I saw that with the 19 of Jackson Harmon. I just didn't point it out, but he was loose off of turn 4. And especially the 3 you mentioned, I didn't know whether it was for position. He's the first guy a lap down, so he's looking to unlap himself with those fresh tires off pit road. Looks like the 04 kind of got tangled a little bit now. That allows the 21 to kind of continue to keep to comfortably in second, and looks to be the 013 Casey Drake, Shane DiMantova. Those guys are slowly catching up to the 04 right now. They're looking to use their lanes right now. Then goes Parker White. Keaton Jones, who spun early on lap 1. He's looking to breach himself back in the top 10. As here's a dive for what looks to be like 4th place.
Yeah, these guys back here, all the 3 guys up there were racing really hard, using up their tires, but these guys have done a pretty decent job saving their tires so far, and they're catching up to the 04 car of Ezekiel Reyes for the 3rd position. That's Casey Drake and Shane DiMantova behind him. And yeah, like we just saw there with the 04 car, once these tires start to go down, just like at Richmond, the back end just wants to step out off of the corner, but we could see a battle for the lead within the next few laps, but we have a battle for 3rd right now going to turn 1.
Yeah, a battle between Casey Drake, the 04, kind of had a hiccup. The door side by side coming out of turn 2. Looks to be 013 trying to take position. Look how loose the off of turn 2. He had a hard time trying to keep that thing together, but he gets it. He gets it right there into turn 3, and you see the leaders right now. The 3 has unlapped himself, but it doesn't matter right now because these 2 leaders might be battling for the race lead. That's the 21 of Andy McDowell. He's using the high lane. He might make it work off turn 2.
Yeah, and he's made that gap. He's decreased that gap, and both sideways off of the corner. Andy McDowell into the wall, but down to the bottom. Looks like he's going to clear him momentarily, but Sartaj man's going to use the outside line to get a run, and almost up against the wall for the race lead. Side by side into turn number 1 once again.
Still side by side for the race lead. Andy McDowell still looking low. He has the advantage off turn 2. See if the 49 gets a run off the corner, and I think he's almost there. He's going to dive into turn 3. They're going to be side by side once again, but we saw the 21, how good he was on that high line. Almost making contact, and that's allowing that 04 to come back within the top 3. He might peek into this battle for the race lead in turn 1.
Yeah, when these guys are side by side, that's allowing these guys to catch back up here, and these guys are almost contact there off of the corner. These guys are not giving each other any room, and here comes the 04 car back up to the 2nd spot, and the 49 almost got into the 21, but again, here comes the 04 car. He qualified up front, and now he's back up there.
Yeah, and Keaton Jones is also here in the top 5 as well. He had been early. Now he's looking back to where he started at the start of this race on row number 1. Now he's looking. The 013 peaks his bumper onto the 49, who gets oh so loose off turn 2. And we see that multiple times. We continue to see it over this run, and especially when the nighttime kind of comes down. The sun is right now at 2x on this session, so that means we'll see the moon rise as soon as we get to the last portion of this race. And that we'll see the difference between the tire grip and how these guys use that. But for right now, the sun is out, and that means the track is slick. Lots of guys trying to save their race cars off of 4. You see Andy McDowell now under pressure from the 04.
Yeah, we see these guys back here for the 3rd spot. Here comes Keaton Jones. We know he's fast. We know he's got a fast race car, but fortunately got spun on turn number 1. But he has made up a lot of the ground that he's lost. And pushes the 013 car up the racetrack. 013 is going to lose, I believe, that top 5 spot to the 20 car. And you see off of the corner, the 21 car of Andy McDowell almost loses it off the corner. And here comes the 04 car of Ezekiel Reyes back for the race lead.
They are not resting for this first spot right now. They are eager to take that, but as soon as they keep doing this, their tires are going to keep warming down. If they can handle the cars on the longer run doing these battles right now, that could potentially harm them when it comes down if we have a longer green flag run. But right now, the battle still rages between the 21 of Andy McDowell and the 04 of Ezekiel Reyes. They maintain side by side, just barely off of turn 4. The 04 had to kind of check up a little bit to watch for that 21, but they're going back into turn 1 with a head full of steam.
Yeah, and one of the factors of having a high line and a low line race, guys, you can shove your car down to the low line. You can clear them for the race lead, but they're going to use that outside line to use that momentum and get right by you again. So that's one of my favorite parts about multi-groove racing, and really any sport, or any motorsport for that matter. So it's really exciting to see both of these lines work here. And it's kind of an uncommon scene here at iRacing. Obviously, we haven't seen a lot of multi-groove racing in the past couple months, so it's good to see these guys use both lanes once again.
And an uncommon scene is at 87. We don't see him up front. That's because he's the first driver a lap down on the racetrack. He's scored currently a lap down right now. You see him trying to carve his way through what looks to be, that's the 19 of Jackson Hartman, the man who beat him last week. You see Dane, Cruz, Shane DiMantova. Those look to be the top 5 that he's trying to breach in, trying to unlap himself on this run. The 21 now breaches. Look how loose he gets off of turn 2. I was going to say he was growing the gap. Shortened it just a little bit, getting loose off of the corner. But Blaze McKinney, currently the first driver, a lap down. He has a little bit of work to do. But so far, the top 2 has put some work on the rest of the field. They continue to spread themselves out.
Yeah, and Blaze McKinney in that 87 car is hoping for a caution, because if he gets that caution, he's going to get the lucky dog, and he'll get his lap back, and he can go back and fight for the win here. But, you know, with Blaze out of the scene, we're starting to see some of these other guys, you know, come into the picture and battle for the win. You see Ezekiel Reyes just lost the win to Blaze McKinney at Homestead. He finished just short, just second of him, but I got another name who got in trouble early on, is making up ground, the 62 of Keaton Jones.
Yeah, he was quietly working their way as those guys. Sartaj, man, he'd fallen a couple spots. He was in the lead. Now you see he's under fire from the 20 of Shane DiMantova. He might lose a spot there. And Blaze McKinney trying to work to unlap himself as they make almost contact, and they do. 20 gets loose. Now he gets sent down in the inside wall. Don't think there's a caution. He's able to save it into the grass. He won't come up into the rest of the field. He'll keep it down low. We'll see a replay and see what happened there, but no caution on the racetrack. You see they go into turn 3, just a product of shooting up the racetrack off of that corner. You think you have more space than you do, and then he gets loose. 46 taps into the back and hard damage, but he keeps it straight. No caution right now on lap 34, but a rough night already. A rough night for him with that. He's going to fall back a couple spots. As you see Andy McDowell utilizing that lone lane. Now they're starting to the lone lane as we reach this long run, lap 35.
Yeah, long runs are my favorite in iRacing. These guys, you know, it really shows how well these guys individually can save their tires and try to save them to the end. And, you know, the 21 car and the 04 car are pretty equal. And, you know, since we saw the 62 car fight his way up here, he might have used those tires getting up here. Now he's starting to stall out, but I wouldn't doubt that, you know, one of these guys saves tires better than the other. And we got a caution out on the racetrack. I think that's the 18 of Kelan Belsha. Nope, that is not. That's another car up against the wall.
I'm not sure who that was in turn 3. It was up against the outside wall. I think he was just stopped trying to let everyone know he was there and for everyone to get out of the way. We'll see in the onboard, see who that is. That looks to be, I'm not sure. Car? I think we'll take another look. It looks to be a green car. It looks to be, I think, a dark and green car. I think I saw some shades of green. I'm not sure who that might have been. There's damage on the 46. I think we'll look at the 15, the 015. See if he had, see if that might have been what caused the yellow. And no, I can't really see. Yeah, the leaders were approaching them in turn 3.
We'll see what number he is here.
Hide and seek, hide and seek. There he is. That is the 3 car. Yeah.
There he is.
The 3 car. Yeah, I believe that's Dylan Parker. He was trapped a lap down. He unlapped himself, we mentioned a while back, and looks like he got into trouble. Looks to be all on his own. See the onboard. We'll take an onboard, see exactly what went down. Yeah, just getting loose off the corner, overcorrected into the wall, and tough right there. And I think he was just keeping it on the outside just to get away from the leader so they won't hit him. But here are guys on pit. Ezekiel Reyes, Keaton Jones, looks to be pretty much most of the main field. Down on pit road, look who's going to be first. Not sure yet. We'll see. And we see some guys getting off pit road now. That's Andy McDowell. There it is. Right there. Andy McDowell with the win off pit road. Ezekiel Reyes, Keaton Jones. Those guys are the top 3. You see the rest of the guys filing out of pit road right now. That was the battle. Very, very close. Just like their battle has been through that run. Oh, so close. And Sartaj, man, also reached into the top 4. So he gets a good pit stop right there. And now that we have a caution, that means Blaze McKinney is able to get that lucky dog. He's going to be back on the lead lap, so he has a lot of work to do. But good break for him right now, knowing that there's a caution at this point in the race.
Yeah, it'll be a challenge for him to try to carve through the field, but we know his talents. He's won, you know, a majority of the races this season, so I definitely wouldn't put it out of the picture that he can definitely get up there and fight for a win, if he can get up there for sure. But Dylan Parker, who was involved in that last record, did bring the caution out, lost it off of turn 2. He is now out of the race, so tough for him. Here's his first start.
Yeah, not exactly what you want on the first start. Well, we've completed 39 laps of the 101 scheduled for tonight at Iowa. We'll take a short break and we'll have some more green flag racing from the Iowa Speedway. You're watching the iRacing Bundren Lawn Care Series on the KBueno Racing Network at Iowa Speedway. KBRN's coverage of the iRacing Bundren Lawn Care Series. iRacing join thousands of sim races across the globe. Then sponsored by eel Media. You can get your custom paint and graphics right now at eel.media on Instagram. And sponsored by Supermix, concrete blocks on demand. Welcome back to Iowa Speedway. We've had a pretty good run so far on the green flag side of things, but now we've reached our first yellow since that green flag run on lap number 37. As already went down pit road, we have the 1 to green signal from the pace truck. We'll take the green flag this time by Andy McDowell, Ezekiel Reyes, Keaton Jones, Sartaj Man. Those will be the top 4 that'll lead you to the green flag on lap number 42. Still a long way to go, just about 90 laps left in this race, and we'll see if we get another long green flag run. It's all up to those guys on the field right now. The 21 launches off of the restart zone. We're green back at Iowa.
And the 62 with another hiccup there falls back to just 4th place. Not a whole lot of ground lost, so he'll slide back in line. That 62 of Keaton Jones, but here comes the 04 car. These guys have fresh tires, and oh, we got a few spinning off the corner. That's the 01. That's the 1 car down onto the apron. I don't think we're going to caution for that, but the 21 car maintaining the race lead for now.
Stays on the apron, so we'll have no yellow this time by. He'll work himself back up. That was Jonathan T. Jones in his first start. He goes around on turn 2, but looks to be no caution right now. But we have 4, looks to be first and second as we have another caution on the racetrack this time. Casey Drake in the 013 looks to be the guilty party this time around. He goes around, some more smoke ahead. It might have been tangled. Yeah, we'll take the replays, see exactly what went down right there. Yeah, contact between the 015 and the 013 of Casey Drake. They were tangling right here on the front straightaway, and they tangle right there. Those two start to go around and hard into the outside wall. Parker White involved in that as well. Oh boy, another tough break for that 95. He has to get that fixed. And you see right there some guys kind of scrambling around. That was the 015 trying to get away from that. We'll go on board with Colton Light, see what happens.
Yeah, I think Colton Light was just holding his line on the bottom, and unfortunately he got tangled with the 013 car. So stinks for him. I don't think we really saw him up front, but again, it just stinks for him. And I think this might be his first start.
Yeah, I believe it is his first start with the Peak Performance drivers. And the guy in his first start, Andy McDowell, putting up some good laps and a good fight for the race lead, but that didn't last so long. They were about to go side by side for both first and for the battle for third, but that caution kind of messed things up. They'll recycle, they'll reset, and we'll go green flag racing once again. Of course, the drivers who took damage are going to go down pit road, get their damage fixed. And for these guys, they're going to stay out. Looks to be they have the fresh tires right now. You see a couple drivers, Parker White on pit road, Jonathan Jones, who went around right now on pit road, Colton Lights, the 99 of Ryan Potter, who's looking for a better points day today. He's down on pit road with some damage. He hasn't gone out on the racetrack so far, so we'll see. He's probably just getting some damage fixed right there. And Colton Lights right now, the first car a lap down on the racetrack. So those guys, he's currently 22nd. We have 21 cars on the lead lap. That last car on the lead lap is that 013 of Casey Drake. And we have a little shenanigans going down that road. I think that's the fast way around.
Yeah, you know, sometimes the shortest way around is the fastest way around, but obviously that's debatable.
Yeah, and the 21's still blocking him off there. So.
Wow.
Still the battle going on between those two. And we are on another yellow flag of the night. Just a reminder, if you want to ask using hashtag AskKBRN, you can do so. Ask any questions to us in the booth about the race, about the series, about the league, about anything in general, to our favorite cheese, which we had that question, I believe, 2 weeks ago in the chat. So if we can answer those questions, we can definitely answer any other questions you have. And already we have one. LVB asks, is hashtag AskKBRN on Twitter?
Well, I've been pushing for a KBRN Twitter page for a while now, and I don't think I can get Kenneth to crack on it. So, unfortunately, no. AskKBRN is not on Twitter.
Yeah, I think we might work to that somewhat in the future. I've kind of been hesitant about making some social media accounts concerning KBueno Racing Network, especially with the way some broadcasting channels have ended up. They've not really been too active, so I kind of don't want to, I was kind of thinking about possibly not making one for the sake of it not dying out soon. But as we continue, we'll probably start to branch out into other forms of social media, which includes Twitter, possibly Instagram. We'll have things like that to share as soon as we go live. Some more news about what goes down in the leagues that we broadcast. And of course, this series, LWRC, broadcasting the ISRC Championship Series. That'll be July 24th. They'll start their season up there in the late summer, and we'll be broadcasting that as well. So I'm very excited for that. And once we kind of get those things done, we could possibly branch out into social media. But a very good question nonetheless. And down there by Mike74 asks, how big is the hype for LEGO Cup Series Season 4? Charlie, we know this. How hype are you right now?
I would say I'm pretty hype. Yeah, hype, awesome. Cool.
Yeah, it's fun. LEGO Cup Series is nice. You should follow LEGO Cup Series. They're on Instagram. You can do that right there. We have another question in the chat, I believe, just before we go. Green Flag Racing. We're down on the backstretch right now. We have one more we can crack in. It says, if a brand new track was built for this or any other racing series, if it was built, what type of track would you like to see? We have a lot of tracks in iRacing. What kind of thing would you like to see in iRacing?
Oh, man. I mean, if a brand new track was built, I'd love to see some more short tracks. Short tracks are a lot of fun. They put the skill into the driver's hands, so I'd like to see one of those. Before you get green, which one would you like, Kenneth?
Oh, man, I don't know. There's a lot of tracks.
Green flag.
We're already green here at Iowa lap number 4. With the start, Keaton Jones with a better start than he's had. He doesn't seem to get a hiccup this time around. He'll look to the bottom of the 04. Lots of guys brewing between that top 5. Look how loose the 04 gets. He's able to keep it straight. Boy, that was scary for Sartaj, man. It was right behind him. He had to check up immensely to get out the way. Now it looks to be 3 wide, as here's might be a battle for the lead going into turn 1. These guys are going side by side in the field. Yeah,
and Keaton Jones has made up what he's lost. Spun on lap number 1, but has battled himself back up to the 2nd spot. Again, also with Blaze Mckinney, but the 62 got to the front quicker than the 87 car, and he could have the opportunity of battling for the race lead. Sliding himself into the top 5 also is the 37 of Glenn Bundren. Checks Harmon down to the inside.
Yeah, Glenn Bundren, the grass man. He's working himself now in this top 5, and he kind of took opportunity between those guys checking up, and he's in those gaggle of cars behind them. Andy McDowell continues to strengthen his lead above Keaton Jones, and goes Sartaj man in 3rd. Glenn Bundren now works to 4th, and look who's down in the top 5. That's the 79 of William Schmidt. First time he's in the top 5 tonight. Right now, almost 3 wide.
Yeah, and almost 3 wide for that top 5 spot, but William Schmidt made This is one of his first starts of the season, I know that, but under him is Blaze Mckinney fighting back in here. An 017 car off of the corner. 2 cars down to the inside wall. Looks like they're going to come to a stop. I don't think we're going to get caution for that. They're out of the way. But that was the 46 of Dane Cruz as well. So back to what I was saying, Blaze McKinney, again, just like Keaton Jones, making up what he lost and trying to break himself in the top 5. But the outside line is looking pretty strong, and they're holding their ground.
Yeah, they are. And even though they get loose off of the corners, especially off turn 2, like we've seen a couple of times, they seem to get the better run off of the corner, especially off turn 4, where the track is a little more rounded to the front straightaway, and they have a little more room to work with. You see the 20 fighting that car underneath him. He keeps it straight. That's Shane DiMantova, who was involved in an incident earlier in the race. He's picked himself back up, and look at these guys, 3 wide for 5th place right now. They are battling hard right there. As you see the leader continue to work his way with Keaton Jones behind.
Yeah, and Keaton Jones is just, I just think that he's just stronger than that 21 car, but obviously this package can disrupt the air behind you, and this battle for top 5 is heating up a lot. This is a gaggle of cars going into turn number 2 here, but Blaze McKinney coming out on top. He's back into the 4th position. He's trying to chase down his teammate, Sartaaj Man, in the 49 car. He's
picked up a lot of ground ever since he went around on lap number 1. That put him in a little bit of... He got out of that hole very, very quick. Now on fire from the 04 of Ezekiel Reyes. These guys, 5th on back, they are literally torching it out on the racetrack right now. William Schmidt trying to use the high line right now. He can't get the run. And these guys right now taking opportunity. And one of those guys taking opportunity, the 19 of Jackson Hartman, your winner last week.
Yeah, and Jackson Hartman putting up a pretty good fight with a little bit of rear end damage, but that's not going to stop him from going out here and being strong. So he's battling himself out. He's battling for that top 5 spot, currently sitting 8th, a little further back, but he's back into the mix here, straight off of a race win from last week in Michigan.
Yeah, he is working himself. He won Michigan last week over the 87 of Blaze McKinney in those final laps. An exciting finish. Nonetheless, we have a caution on the race. That looks to be Parker White in the 95. If I'm correct, no, it is not. It is the 08 of JJ Hill. He has some damage. I think he might have went around on the racetrack. And we'll take a replay, see what happened. And yeah, there it is. We'll take a replay. Going into turn 1 and 2. Looks to be all fine and dandy from there. But then I think he gets loose and tries to save the car, overcorrects, and then sends it around. He was able to save it barely, but I think he just got sideways enough to trigger the yellow. Already front end damage. A tough night for the 08. He goes almost around, but that is enough to trigger the caution right now. Lap 58 as we got drivers down pit road.
Yeah, Andy McDowell's going to lead pretty much everyone down pit road here. They're going to get those 4 fresh tires. We did see someone stay out. I think that's the 37 of Glenn Bundren. Yes, he is. He's staying out here. Strategy here at Iowa Speedway, but pretty much everyone else coming down, and I think 37's car is going to be at a bit of a disadvantage because he pitted 21 laps ago, so everyone's going to be on new tires. They're going to be strong.
Yeah, no, we're not unfamiliar with seeing Glenn Bundren on last week where he had to battle on those older tires over the run. Now drivers getting their fresh tires and fuel on the racetrack. And we didn't have such a long run this time around. I think 21 laps was the length of that run, and now drivers exiting out. Andy McDowell with a commanding lead. Keaton Jones finds 2nd. Ezekiel Reyes and Sartaj Man look to beat the 87 out of pit road. And all of these drivers pushing in. I think I might have seen Jackson Hartman in the battle between those 3 cars who were looking for position. Henry Tabor now there. And these drivers getting out of pit road. What a good decision by Ezekiel Reyes and those guys. And Sartaj Man, they picked up some spots on that 87. Now they're going to start pretty well now, especially now they're going to charge on that 37 on the new restart.
Yeah, I just think that the 37 car is just, we'll just see how long he lasts. But he is surrounded by a couple teammates. We have right to his outside, pretty much the leader of most of the race so far, Andy McDowell in that 21 car. He's driving for PPM. 49 car of Sartaj Man, also driving for that team, and Blaze McKinney in that 87 car. So surrounded by a couple teammates, but I don't know. I don't know if they'll play nice to each other.
Yeah, and 87 of Blaze McKinney. Of course, when he's won the PPM guys on his car, he doesn't use the paint scheme that PPM uses for their team schemes, but nonetheless, he still reps them in the right way. and he has a couple wins under his belt for that team. So he's already brought some good news for that team when it comes down to the series. And now that he has all his teammates with him, they can potentially help him going down the road to help secure his championship. And right now, I want to mention those point standings. Kiloa Hankins is not here. He did not register in this session, so that's going to hurt his chances when it comes down to the point standings. He's not going to be able to carve his way into the gap behind that 87. So he's going to have some work to do come around when we go next week at, I believe it's Charlotte Raceway. I think it's Charlotte Motor Speedway. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it is Charlotte.
Let me go check really quickly. But if it is Charlotte, that's a really fun racetrack. Hold on. Let's see here. Yeah, next week is the Charlotte Oval, so that's a really fun racetrack. Obviously, pretty package dependent. That high downforce is really going to show there. So, yeah, it's going to be a really exciting race. I love that racetrack a lot. But right after that, we go to one of my all-time favorite racetracks, Darlington Raceway, for our Throwback race. So we're going to see a lot of guys throwing some Throwback paint scheme, paying homage or paying tribute to the late and great NASCAR drivers. But pace truck pulls off, and those two PPM cars are going to lead them to the green flag. And underway once again, Bundren will lead them into turn number 1.
We'll see how long those older tires last. The 37 right now seems to be good right now as they're battling behind them. Battles for second. He easily takes it off turn 2. The 21 in the wall. Handful of drivers tapping the wall off turn 2. Looks to be fine. Look at the 49. A huge dive. They're 3 wide right now. Looks to be almost for the race lead. They are tight between all these guys in the turn.
Yeah, and Keaton Jones under the 37 for the race lead. Looks like he can take it, but here comes the 87. It's like the Intimidator when you see that front bumper coming towards you. And we got another yellow flag on the racetrack, but Mckinney moved himself into the second spot right before it came out. But it's like the yellow on the racetrack for, I believe, the 2 car of Caden Atkins.
And Caden Atkins looks to be around. He's shuffling that car, already some damage, and we'll take a replay, see what exactly went down right there. I think it was the case of getting loose, I think. Doesn't look like it to be the case right there, going into turn 1. And yeah, might have had some help from the 79 there. Got tapped around, and he goes into the outside wall. Doesn't look to be too much damage on the 2, but just a case of battling hard for that position. And he just goes around on the racetrack, and that is enough to send a yellow out on the racetrack. But now the top 2 are just exactly where they were at the start of this race. Keaton Jones, Blaze McKinney, back up to the front of the field. Now this shakes everything up, knowing that they couldn't really have the battle ever since they tangled together. What do you really expect this next restart, Charlie?
Yeah, I think it's going to be insane for sure. These 2 guys are very aggressive. And I want to go back and look at that 3-wide move that we saw from Sartaj. Man, it's we'll go find it, but wow, that was a really exciting move for him.
He dove it all the way into turn 3 and 4, I believe it was, and he almost made it 3 wide for and second place. He tried moving down. Look how low he went on the racetrack, and as soon as he was coming up the racetrack, you see all these guys behind him scramble to try and hold their runs and to not make contact with the 49, and then caution flew around this time. So then these guys kind of calmed down, but these guys were racing off 2 than the yellow waves, and these guys got to calm down. But that means we'll have more racing when we go to the green flag, because all those guys are bunched together on the rows. So that'll be very interesting. And Blaze McKinney, who stayed, not Blaze McKinney, excuse me, Bundren, who stayed out, he falls now a couple spots. He falls there. You see him on the racetrack going pretty slowly. I think he might have went down pit road. He's currently 15th on the board. So I think after the caution, he went down pit road to get those fresh tires and fuel on that strategy call that didn't seem to work out on the longer runs. Especially, it wasn't even a long run anyway. Already, it's that strategy did not work, and that kind of happens at these racetracks, trial and error. But if the caution comes out, that's at everything you have.
Yeah, and it's tough. When you stay out on those old tires, you're obviously gonna get freight trained by everyone else, because tires make such a difference, especially in these Cup cars and really any NASCAR stock car that's in this iRacing service. Just if you stay out on old tires, those guys with new tires are just so strong, and there's really no way to defend them. Really, the only place that I can think that you can last on old tires is a super speedway, because that's not very tire dependent. So Yeah, really anywhere else, it's tough to hold everyone off.
So we work to lap number 66 on the racetrack. Keaton Jones with the race lead. And now that we're working on our caution laps, we're not going to mention a couple of the things. We're not going to go to commercial. We're just going to keep it going here on the KBueno Racing Network. And if you want to catch, you can tomorrow afternoon, 3 p.m. Eastern. That'll be the Auto Club race for the LWRC NASCAR Cup Series. They were planned to run earlier today, but with the in real life NASCAR race happening at Talladega this afternoon, that kind of rescheduled their event to tomorrow. So we'll have a afternoon race tomorrow for you right here on the KBueno Racing Network YouTube channel. And of course, next week for the iRacing Bundren Lawn Care Series, we have the Charlotte race. And I wanted to mention it before we went green last time when we talked about Charlotte. We're going to have an all-star race for this series. And special thing about that is it'll be a drivers-only broadcast. You won't be hearing me and Charlie really in the booth. We'll have, I believe, Glenn, Bundren, Blaze, McKinney. Those guys will the people, the admins themselves, they'll be up here in the booth bringing the fun for that all-star event. That'll be the old Cup cars at Charlotte. That's interesting, especially how loose those cars can get and how you really have to handle those machines. I'm really excited for that. It's gonna be super fun.
Yeah, those old Cup cars can really give you a taste of what it was like back in what it was like on the iRacing service back in 2018 and early 2019. So those Cup cars have a lot of a lot of horsepower and very little downforce. Pretty much the polar opposite of what these Cup cars are. So yeah, lots of power in the driver's hands. So especially around Charlotte, it's a lot of fun. You go about I think 190 or 180 entering turn number 1.
Yeah, I've driven them before. I've tried doing test sessions, and it's hard to keep that car straight. You really have to manage the throttle more than you do these cars. But in terms of these cars, we're going to go green. 69, Keaton Jones and the 87 Ablaze McKinney will lead the field to green at the 62's discretion. He'll take the green flag this time by 3 wide move. Right now, that's Sartaj, man. He peeks back down, but they're side by side into turn 1. Still the battle goes.
Yeah, and the outside line's going to get the run off the corner. You see Blaze McKinney with a bump to the outside, side by side for the race lead. 62 gets a little bit loose, but clear for the race lead. Once again, to the point is that 87 car, Blaze McKinney. He has a blazing fast machine here at Iowa Speedway, and they're going to start fighting for the second spot, but Keaton Jones is clear, and will try to make up what he lost on 87.
He used that opportunity to his advantage, and he seized it at the right point in time. Now he's to the front of the field. Keaton Jones now has to chase him down. He was in a battle with the 49 of Sartaj, man, but now the 49 is under fire from Andy McDowell, who dominated the early portion of this race. He's trying to work his way back to the top 3, and he has a little bit of fighting to do with these guys up front. Ezekiel Reyes battle behind them. I believe that is the 20 of Shane DeMantova. It is, and the 19 of Jackson Hartman. 2 Toyota Camrys working themselves and peeking into the top 5. And there goes the 49 around the racetrack. He goes around another driver around. That's Caden Atkins. They go around under the apron, so no caution. I don't think there'll be a caution thrown out for this one. Hard damage for the 49. The worst possible situation. And there's no yellow, so they're still going green. Oh my goodness.
And that was tough for that 49 car, and he just, the back end just stepped out on corner entry, and like I've been mentioning in our race, once these tires start to wear down, that back end is gonna wanna step out from you, and it happens at the least expected moment. But back for the race lead, using the outside line, the 62 tags the wall on the corner entry, but he's back to the back bumper of the 87.
Yeah, I'm surprised the 87 wasn't trying to take the high line away from the because he got such a good run off of turn 2, and now he's continuing to try to make a move on that 87. He hasn't quite found the space just yet to make it right now, but he's looking to do that right off of turn 4. He gets a good run. I'm surprised the 87 isn't trying to kind of take away the line. I think it might just be too early in the race, but here might be a crossover. Can't quite get it done. The 62 back to the front of the lead. Yeah,
and a really good move for that 62 car. He used the outside line, got the momentum, stuck behind him, and dove under him on corner entry and was able to take the lead. So I don't know why the 87 stuck to the bottom line. I feel like he could have ran a more defensive line, but nonetheless, 62 car back to the race lead.
And don't look now, but the 04 of Ezekiel Reyes, who was battling for the race lead a handful of laps ago early in the run, 3rd, and now he's trying to pick his way back to these guys. We got another battle again. The 87 Ablaze Mckinney back down to the bottom and think he try and make it work, and he cannot. Their outside run is just too strong right now. He'll try again the next lap. You hit the reset button. He'll try again, but these guys are working. This might be the battle for the race lead between these top three, really, and maybe top four with Shane.
Yeah, and you know, like I said earlier, with that battle between the 04 and the 21, when they're side by side, the cars behind them do catch up. But Mckinney will not stop trying the bottom line. He's trying to make it work as much as he can, but here comes the 04 car back into the picture. I just think the outside line is just way too strong.
Yeah, it is. And it seems as though turn 3 and 4 seems to be the hot spot when it comes down to using that, especially with the rounder edges on the front straightaway instead of a straightaway. You kind of have more room to operate that highline and get a better run turning the car. But now we have a slide job for the race lead. That was the 87, worked to the bottom. Now the 62 tries to cross over. He's going to look to the bottom of turn 1 as we have the same battle brewing for looks to be third place. That is the 04 and the 20 working together sideways. The 62 almost went around. He keeps it under him. Boy, they are battling for this right now. Lap 79.
I feel like I'm watching a dirt race out here. These guys are using both lines. They're slide jobs, and they're throwing sliders out here. It's some really good racing. But off of the corner, you saw the 62 just barely cleared the 87, and 87 gave him a shot off the corner, and he saved it. Bit of damage to the front bumper of the 87 and the back bumper of the 62. These guys are not done yet. The 62 catching back up. He's going to fight for it once again, and 87 running the high line. 62 is going to get the momentum from the high line.
Yeah, that 87 still hasn't worked his way up top, but that 62 gets the good enough run to go back to that back bumper, and he's going to try another move. He's going to utilize possibly, no, he goes down low, tries to take a kind of diamond approach to that corner. He doesn't get the run, but then comes turn 3 and 4, and that's where he really gets it done in terms of getting the run. You saw the 20 of Shane DiMantova get into the wall a little. He might be under fire from Jackson Hartman. Those guys now battling for position behind them. I think that is Andy McDowell behind them. And I think Dane Cruz is behind those guys in that larger line of these, I believe, top 7 we have right here. But here comes another battle for the race lead. Go to rest with that 62 still working to the high lane. He's going to get the run, and they're by right to the line.
Yeah, and just the outside line using that momentum. And once again, these two guys ran opposite lines. 87 stuck to the bottom, 62 stuck to the top. And we saw 62 made the move back to the race lead. So the 62 of Keaton Jones back to the point here at Iowa Speedway. But they're not done yet. And while these guys are running the low line and high line, this is allowing the 04 car to save tires. And if these guys start to wear down, I stand corrected. We do have a caution on the racetrack right now.
Yeah, caution lap 82 looks to be the 72. That's Aiden Murray. I believe he's also making his first start tonight. Yeah, it says the 01. I think there's a custom paint scheme, so it shows the 72 on that car. But he's looking right now without a front bumper, and we'll take a replay, see what happened to him. He was working around the racetrack, and I think he might have gotten into, looks like, no, actually, doesn't seem to be the reason exactly, but going into turn 1.
We'll get to it. I accidentally rewinded a little too far, but we'll have to wait and see what the wreck was. And
yeah, just waiting to see the 72. It looked to be off of turn 4. I'm not sure where exact track, and we'll kind of fast forward to see what happened with the 72. But definitely the damage was enough to get rid of that front bumper. Yeah, he gets into the wall of turn 2, hard into the inside wall. He bounces back up the track. Looks like nobody's able to hit him, but the fact that he goes back on the track triggers that yellow. And with that, we have another round of pit stops. Keaton Jones, Ezekiel Reyes, Blaze McKinney, those guys, top 3 right now. They might get a good pit stop. We'll see what happens.
You see the 99 of Ryan Potter. He didn't enter his pit box. He just went right through the pit lane. But the race off of pit road goes to the 62 once again. And he'll win the race off of pit road with the 87 car of Blaze McKinney right behind. And Ezekiel Reyes rounds out the podium, I guess, finishing order, you could say, for the race off of pit road. So under caution once again. And I think, we see the 18 car of Kelan Belsha, who stayed out, and the 99 of Ryan Potter. No, he's going to stay out on the racetrack completely.
Yeah, stayed out right now on the racetrack, and Not sure whether this was just a strategy car, or whether he just missed a pit box like you said. He probably did, so that probably sent him back. But Ryan Potter, yeah, he did not take a stop on pit road, so he's the leader as they stand, driving that Vag Esports number 99, and he needs a good run right now. Why he's staying out right now instead of dipping down pit road the second time around after he missed. But we'll just see exactly what goes down with that. Driving an all-black car, support of the Black Lives Matter movement, which kind of reminiscent of what Denny Hamlin drove today at Talladega with the dark car and the sponsor of the museum down on the hood. So kind of an inspiration from Denny Hamlin. And right there, yeah, he's gonna dive down pit road, I believe. Time, yeah, I think pit lane is open. So
I think that's the same exact sponsor that was on Denny Hamlin's car today. I think it's the National, Civil Rights Museum. So FedEx today in the Talladega Cup race, they took all their sponsors off the car and put the National Civil Rights Museum on their cars just to show their support to end racial discrimination in America today. So a good message being shown by both Denny Hamlin in real life and Ryan Potter in the iRacing simulator. So always good to see some support for those types of movements.
Yeah, it is, and I think the driver with the good field 62 of Keaton Jones, who currently holds the lead. He'll lead the field back to green with a stellar pit stop that put him back out front, and it looks to be the top three unchanged from there. Shane DiMantova goes to fourth, Jackson Hartman, Andy McDowell, Dane Cruz to William Schmidt. Looks to work back into the top 10. I think that is Parker White behind the 79, so he'll be behind them with a better race car, better looking race car than what he had before when he got tangled up. We'll just see what happens with him soon as we go back green. I think we're going to get the 1 to green signal this time, so should be enough to go back green very, very soon. And we have another question by our fellow analyst who couldn't make it today. That's Eli. Asking, how are we, Charlie?
I'm doing pretty good. Watched the Cup race today. It's pretty good, really good finish. I'm glad the didn't get rain delayed. I feel like today really showed the vortex theory kind of works. Darren Waltrip's vortex theory. If you don't know, cars going around in a circle will keep the storms away. So that worked here at Talladega. They made surprisingly just a little hole over the racetrack, and they were able to get the racing. So how are you, Kenneth?
Yeah, I'm good. I mean, that Talladega race was fun to watch. It was one of the cleanest Talladega races I've ever watched on TV, considering the fact that the attrition didn't really play a factor in terms of that. But it was really fun to watch. I think it was great that they got the race in fully. I did not want to see it kind of get delayed again due to rain. So it was nice to see that the storms kind of peeked their way out from the Talladega Superspeedway, and we were able to get that race in. But we're still racing to go here at Iowa between the 62 and the 87. They'll take the green flag. A good start for the 62. He leads them down in turn 1, or looking to the bottom of the 87.
And here comes the 04 trying to take that second spot away from Blaze McKinney, but looks like Blaze might get the momentum off at the corner. And almost a checkup there from the 62. And we got another caution out on the racetrack, unfortunately. That's 2 of Caden Atkins once again around on the racetrack. We'll go ahead and get a replay here.
Goes around, and I think almost the exact same spot he went around the first time. He already had the damage from the contact with William Schmidt, and on this restart, and the restarts, guys get tangled up, and you see the 017 in the wall, but that doesn't look to be related. I think, he had some help from the 08. They got together, and that sent him around in turn 2. He goes around and is able to go back and fire it up again, but now another caution. And really, this has happened before. I'm really not surprised that it continues to happen. We're on board with JJ Hill. Down.
Yeah, and I feel like Caden Atkins, I think it was the second time he was just an innocent bystander. And that one, I guess he just got caught up and collected. So, stinks for him. This is one of his first races of the season with us. So, obviously not a very good start, but Keaton Jones will lead them under caution. And speaking of national events, yesterday was Father's Day. So, thank you to all the dads out there. Just a quick shout out to all the dads. I know every driver in this field probably wish their dad a happy Father's Day. So,
giving love to all the fathers around the world, and that was a fun day on Sunday. Spent some time with my family, met some, spent some time with my grandparents and my father, and of course I hope that everyone else had a great day, spending times with their fathers and grandfathers, just appreciating them for what they do, regardless of the situation going on now. So I think we saw, no, actually these guys slowing down. I think they're just kind of working themselves together. Not sure exactly what they're doing, but now that looks to be the 04 who start. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what's going down. They kind of slowed down altogether, and they're now going back up to that pace truck. And how about Ezekiel Reyes in the 04? He ran a consistent race at Homestead, finished in the top 3. Then I believe came, check the schedule, see exactly what went down after that race. After Homestead was, I believe, North Wilkesboro. Yes, it was North Wilkesboro. I'm not sure whether he raced North Wilkesboro.
I don't think so.
And then came Michigan. He showed up in Michigan and had a rough night in that 04. He kind of went around a couple of times, got collected in some issues. But now he's trying to work himself to a possible good finish and possibly the win if he can extend this to the end. But he has a lot of work to do when it comes down to that 87 and the 62 have been the strongest all night, apart from the 21 who now sits in 8th. And speaking of the drivers in the field, I believe we have 18 cars now on the lead lap. So Glenn Bundren is the first car lap down. I think he'll take the lucky dog this time. So he'll be back on the lead lap. He's on pit road right now. So, and I thought he was out there on track. Looks to be on pit road, probably getting some damage sorted out. There's Shane DiMantova, currently 5th right now. He's had a...
Yeah, and I think when it comes down to the last 50 lap run, I think this is really between the top 3 cars we have right here, and they've all shown that they're pretty much equal in speed, and all these guys are equal in speed. They have the same setup, of course. I think it really comes down to just the lines that you take in the corners. So I feel like these guys have really shown that they're the best at utilizing their fixed setup and working the lines around here, and we saw some really good moves. So yeah, speaking it's been a pretty lengthy race so far under caution, but we are seeing some shade begin to creep over the racetrack here. That means the sun is coming down, and this one could end under 9. I think that was the intention here, but yeah,
Yeah, I spoke with Glenn Bundren before the race started. We kind of talked a little bit about what was going down in the race, and he said that around 50 to go, which we are just approaching that, I believe 7 or 8 laps shy of 50 to go, we'll start to see the sun dip and the moon start to rise and the lights start to turn on the racetrack. And that means a little more grip for the guys who've been battling their race car ever since. We see the sun illuminating that back stretch from that angle. Obviously not from this angle, but beautiful, beautiful Iowa sunset here, and some beautiful racing we've seen tonight between these top 5. And look who's down on the outside of row 2. That'll be Jackson. Last week's winner. He's looking to get a better run now and continue his stride to the top 3, but the 04 and the 62 will lead the field to the green flag under the 62's discretion. iRacing pace truck dips down pit road or green ground. Green flag. Keaton Jones slipped up a little bit on the restart, but he gets a good...
And here comes the 04 car up the high side. Almost contact between the 87 and the 04. That could have been big, almost reminiscent of lap 1. But instead on the 04 car, but they're all sorted out. A lot of the guys made mistakes up front on that restart, but they can slow up the corner. Here comes Blaze Mckinney side by side for the race lead.
Yeah, they're side by side for 1st and 3rd. Jackson Hartman now putting the pressure on the 04 for 3rd place. Might take a look beneath the 87. Almost can on the bottom. He's trying to make it work, and he almost is. They're keeping their car straight, but Keaton Jones now sinks to the lead. The 87 now working still low. He's been loyal to that low. He is trying his hardest to get to that quarter panel. Ezekiel Reyes got super loose. I think we have a car down in the grass. I think I saw some... Yeah, that was the driver. I believe that was Shane DiMantova. It is. He went down in the grass for the 2nd time tonight. He doesn't go around, so no caution. But right now, these leaders are brewing, and Jackson Hartman now slips in the 3rd with Andy McDowell behind him.
Yeah, we saw the 04 car slipped up. I don't know if that was contact with the 19 car or not, but he lost a couple spots there. But here comes the 21 of Andy McDowell. He was really fast, stayed out front, led a lot of laps early on in the run, so he's moving himself back up there. He just needs to get past Jackson Hartman, last week's winner at Michigan, to start to enter the battle for the race lead. And yeah, here comes Blaze Mckinney down low once again.
Keaton Jones continuing to use that high line to his advantage. Pinches the 87 just a little bit down, and that allows the 87 to stay behind the 62. And now look at who's, I think, in the top 5. That is William Schmidt in the 79. He passed the 04, kind of had a little hiccup there. There's Dane, who had a little bit of struggle early tonight, but he's worked himself back into the top 10. Then goes Parker White and these guys behind them. And Andy McDowell, the man who dominated a good portion of this race with the 04, he now has a little bit of work to do now. He hasn't really caught back up to these top 2 ever since they came back out front. And almost contact between the 87 and the 62. They are so tight together. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that was a close one. Looks like Blaze Mckinney, no matter how much he sticks to the bottom, no matter how low it is, looks like he just slipped up there and almost tagged the 62. That could have been pretty bad. Almost a replay of lap number 1. But once these guys are side by side, here comes the 19 car of Jackson Harmon and also the 21 car. So it's a 4-car battle for the lead. Put him under a blanket on lap number 100. Just under 50 laps to go in this race. The sun is starting to set. The lights are starting to turn on. And the intensity is going to ramp up. And so will the grip on this racetrack.
It will. It will be intense. We have a little bit of news from Glenn. Bundren mentioned a driver lap down, but it seems as though he's down on power, so the 3017 is done for the night, and they'll pack things up and head to Charlotte Motor Speedway where we go next week. But right now, these top 3 and top 4 have been working hard to get around each other. That includes the 21 of Andy McDowell. Now look at 7, but guess who this helps? This helps the 62 immensely now.
Yeah, and that's what Keaton Jones wants to see. He wants to see those cars behind him battling side by side. They know that they're going to stall out, as you see almost contact there between the 21 and the 87. But, you know, he wants to see him side by side because that's going to allow him to pull away. But he's not letting that happen so easily, as Blaze Mckinney is still fighting, using that bottom line.
Yeah, and he's been consistent using the bottom line. He's one of the drivers I've seen that really hasn't drifted up high on the racetrack to gain momentum. He's been using the low line in both 1 and 2 and in 3 and 4, and it seems to work in 1 and 2. He's now to the quarter panel. He's going to dive low in 3. That'll almost bring the lead. We might see a slide job happening right here, and we do give the lead back to the 87 off 4.
Yeah, and the momentum for the 62 car is going to come back here to the back bumper, back to the inside. Blaze Mckinney down low at the block. Keaton Jones back with the advantage down to turn number 1. Another slide job. Not yet. Blaze Mckinney using that outside line to pull back out for the race lead. And 2 car lengths back to the 62 now.
It is so entertaining watching these guys slightly lose their cars and try to drift them back straight off of the corner. I saw the 87 do that, trying to keep the outside on Keaton Jones, but now he's bridged the gap between those 2, and the battle for 3rd continues to heat up between Jackson Hartman and the 21 of Andy McDowell. That might end if the 21 can get the run, and he doesn't just yet. So they're still battling for 3rd, and it looks like Keaton Jones still hasn't gotten the run yet to catch up to the 87. He might be planning something here, Charlie.
Yeah, and that 87 is off. He's extended that lead to almost a quarter of a straightaway here. So he's just doing something better than the 62 car and just running the line better. And yeah, so Blaze Mckinney back out front, looking for another race win to continue his dominating points lead and his dominating win streak of the season.
He uses the high lane for, I believe, the first time this race in turns 3 and 4. Now that he's clear of the 62, he can freely use any lane he wants with that clean air. Now the 62 kind of has a little bit of work cut out for him. He's going to have to fight back. And I think the tensions between, oh my goodness, the 87 almost got in the wall there. I think he might have gotten loose. Now that allows the 62 to come back up as soon as I say that. Now it's still the pressure still on the 87. He can't catch a break.
Yeah, and just, again, corner exit is where the back end just wants to step out. And no matter how much, when you start to take slides like that off of the corner, that's just taking a sliver of your tire wear off, and the more you do that, the more it's going to wear down. But Keaton Jones back down to the race lead. Slide job for the race lead. We can see a crossover from the 87, but give it to Keaton Jones momentarily.
Yeah, once again, back to Keaton Jones. The 87 has to work away. He has to work away around the 62 once again. Still battling right now, and the 87 trying to work a plan out to go around him right now. But tensions have kind of toned down between the 21 and the 19. They now file themselves single file. Andy McDowell was the victor in that one. He takes third place for now. It looks like Jackson Harmon has not put up a battle ever since. And these top 4, look at the gap between them and Dane Cruz, who rounds out the top 5. Those guys they have pretty much separated themselves from the rest of the field. And look who's there. That's the 49 of Sartaj Man, who had some trouble early.
Yeah, Sartaj Man has made up some ground here in a pretty decent spot, just right outside the top 5. We'll see if he can catch up to the 46 car and make a pass for the top 5 position. But yeah, like you said, it's starting to tone down up front here. Just half a car length back for the race lead is the 87 of Blaze Mckinney. And yeah, you see car right behind them. 21 car of Andy McDowell almost lost off the corner.
They continue to get loose even as the sun continues to go down, and now the lights are starting to come on here at Iowa Speedway. And loose is the 62 of Keaton Jones. Now he loses 7. He has another battle to pick out. I think there's a lap car in front of them. It might be, I think, Darren Myers that's in front of them in the 017, if I'm correct there. He's a couple laps down, so I think he'll get out the way for these guys. And here's another move for 7. Back to the bottom, but it's not just over yet. That 62 still working the high side. Look how loose they get off turn 4.
Yeah, and you saw the 87 on his back bumper all the way down the back straightaway and kind of intimidated him to run up the racetrack and almost into the wall. And they were way loose off the corner, but back for the race lead. Give it to the 87 of Blaze Mckinney back out front once again. But these guys are not done yet. Keaton Jones is going to do everything he can to try to, I guess, get back up there and try to repay the favor.
It looks like a relay race right now, and it looks like a seesaw. These guys are going up and down, first, second. They are battling every single lap on each other's bumpers. One seems to mess up, the other one picks up the slack. They take the lead, then goes another mistake from them, and then the second place car takes back the lead. And that's what these guys have been doing the past couple of laps, and it has been entertaining to watch right now. And those top 2 have pretty much started a gap between them and the other 2 guys behind them. Andy McDowell and Jackson Harmon, they maintain still within just a handful of tenths behind each other, and they still haven't put up a battle just yet. With the 62 ever growing so close back to that 87, we could see another pass for the lead coming to the next couple laps, Charlie.
Yeah, and we only have just under 40 laps to go here. These guys are already on. These guys pitted 30 laps ago, so we could see, I don't know what the fuel run specifically is here, but we could see some strategy here. But, you know, like we saw at Richmond, some guys went over 100 laps on a set of tires, so we'll see how that plays in. But nonetheless, it'll be a good battle until then between the 87 and the 62.
I think it's a good time right now to look at where everyone stands and go through our race summary right now with all the drivers going around here at Iowa Speedway. Completed 116 laps, still 35 laps remaining. 18 lead changes, a lot of lead changes tonight. We've had 8 cautions so far, 33 laps under the yellow flag. And so far, it's a green flag run right now, testing guys their ability to keep the car under those old tires. And we'll look to first right now. We'll kind of go through the field and see where everybody stands. So Blaze Mckinney currently in first. He's been battling with Keaton Jones the past couple of laps. Now first, he's changed for the lead a handful of times. He's led 20 laps. He's right now in a good spot. Keaton Jones down in second. He's led 34 laps. He's second right now, but he's still pretty close to that 87.
And in third place right now, PPM driver, 21 car, Andy McDowell, started 6th, gained 3 spots throughout the course of this race, and is now currently sitting in 3rd. And right on his back bumper, Jackson Harmon in that 19 car. Last week's winner, having a pretty solid run here tonight.
Dane Cruz has had some struggles early in this race, but he's managed to pick himself back up. He sits just inside of the top 5. He hasn't led a lap tonight this race, but ever since he started this race in 7th, he's picked up 2 spots, and he's running comfortably right now in 5th. And behind him, Sartaj Man also had some trouble when he went down. He led a couple laps in the run, but he's fallen back on those older tires, and he's looking to get a better run right now. Currently 6th, not too bad. Fastest lap at 23.838, and he's dropped 2 spots since he dropped the green flag.
Right behind him, we have the 95 car of Parker White, who has been pretty consistent throughout the early runs of these races, but unfortunately seemed to get caught up in some trouble. So another tough break for him, but currently sitting just inside the top 10 is a 95 car. Right behind him, we have Shane DiMantova is currently sitting 8th. Started at 8th, changed no spots. He's running the 20 Evo SimSport SBG Motorsports, the Toyota Camry, currently sitting 8th.
Behind them, Caden Atkins has had some trouble, but that does not keep him from being in this top 10. He sits 9th after spinning twice. He's started 14th, so he's gaining 5 spots ever since the drop of the green flag. He now sits on this long run, just a handful of tenths behind that 20 of Shane DiMantova. Right behind him is the man who was down top 5 for pretty much most of this running until he had a little hiccup, I believe, in the early laps on that last restart. He fell all the way down to 10th. He started 2nd on the racetrack. So that rounds out your top 10 and your KBRN go through the field right now. But there is Blaze Mckinney and within each other in close proximity. They've pretty much separated themselves from the 3rd and 4th place cars. And the 62, it looks in turn 1 and 2, he gets the better one every single time. And then in turn 4, he utilizes that high lane to his advantage. And here might be the run. This could be another battle for the race lead on lap number 125.
And on board with Keaton Jones here, just inching closer and closer to that back bumper. And if he can't get past him based on speed, he might as well just use the bumper. And that's definitely not out of the picture, especially when these laps start to wind down. Just under 25 laps to go here at Iowa Speedway. So we've seen a lot of good racing, but it all comes down to this, is these guys are using both lines to try to edge out each other, but Keaton Jones could just sticking to the high line. Blaze Mckinney sticking to the low line. So they have their advantages, but they also have their disadvantages, both those lines do.
TV on board, and as we're looking at Keaton Jones, it seems as though he dives a little harder in the but then he tries to look for the better way out of the corner. He tries to focus a little more on exit than he does on the entrance. As you see Blaze Mckinney still using that low line in every single corner, and right now it's working for him. You see how close the 62 gets off of those corners, and you see him dive all the way down to that yellow off of turn number 2. That's where he picked up a lot of time on that 87 over this run, and still not over yet for these guys. These guys continue to battle as we approach the pretty much home stretch of this race, and now the lights are on. So now the grip levels are up. We haven't seen so many drivers lose control.
Yeah, when the sun goes down, the grip levels go up, and these tires are going to get hooked up. Well, for the most part, if you're on fresh tires, they could be hooked up, but these guys are on old tires. But it's a lot more grip than what we've seen with the sun beaming down on the racetrack. But up for the back bumper, once again, the 62. But yeah, I'd say they're pretty equal in speed right now. Both lines are working for them, but not really an advantage for either line.
Yeah, the driver behind these two is Darren Myers. He is full of laps down. He's just, I believe, 17 laps down, excuse me. So he's going to work around them on the fresher tire. But that could potentially make a little bit of a pick. That kind of set them closer together. So that could be another opportunity to gain ground on that 87, and he goes by them both. He wanks it. He drives it way loose off of turn 4. And he's going to battle that, but another battle for the lead. Brewing, the 62 down to the inside. This could be the crossover bump from the 87.
And a bump from the 87. 62 just kind of chopped him off mid-corner, but the advantage going into turn number 3 will be Blaze Mckinney. That's the second shot to the back bumper of the 62 that we've seen from Blaze Mckinney. And Curtis Granger is obviously just trying to throw a slide job, and just the crossover works around here. And Blaze Mckinney just back up to the race lead, but just momentarily we saw that 62 car out front.
He is there. He was momentarily out there, but then the 87 gave him the little bump, and now he kind of fell out of that spot. I think there's William Schmidt. He is also a lap car, I believe. He's on the fresher tire, so he'll easily get around these two leaders right now. As we see a driver down pit road, he was in the top 3 when this happened before that, and now he's down pit road. I think we might see some fuel strategy happening here.
Yeah, I think the 21 car is trying to short pit around these guys. And if you don't know what short pitting is, it's basically if you don't think you're fast enough to beat them on old tires, you pit early, get those fresh tires, make up all that time once you get back out onto the racetrack. And since you're on those new tires, once those guys with the old tires who are running slower laps go down for the fresh tires, you're going to come out on top or in front of them. So this is what you like to see. Strategy starting to mix these things up, but Yeah. We see our Ask KBRN question in the chat here. Are they going to make it on fuel? Well, I think it'll be iffy for these guys for sure, but I think when we start to see some guys drop down on pit road, I think we'll see some fuel strategy. You see the 04 car did pit 3 laps ago, so all those guys are on a short pitting strategy.
Yeah, and these guys that need some ground to make up, that could be the strategy they're looking for. As right now, the leaders, I don't think they're too worried about the fuel strategy here. They could be good until the end of the run. I think what these guys are doing behind is they're trying to gain ground by the short pitting that Charlie mentioned, and they're using that to try and get those fresh tires to kind of gain ground on the rest of this field right now. But that's all up to these guys to decide as we continue to see lap cars, guys who are in the back of the field. They get on those fresh tires and they really they start to gain ground. As oh my goodness, 62 had a little bit of problems there.
Yeah,
he goes
62 had a bit of internet problems there. He was stuck for, I mean, he was disappeared for pretty much a half a lap there, and he lost some ground. Obviously, he appeared back right beside, so he lost a little bit of ground there, but he's quickly making it back up. I think those worn out tires are starting to get to the 87.
Yeah, they're starting to get to the both of them. We saw the lap cars. Now easily on those fresh tires. We could possibly see that with some of the drivers, and with that pit strategy, that leaves just 12 cars on the lead lap. Andy McDowell is the first car a lap down, then goes Ezekiel Reyes. Those guys who short pitted, they're now down a lap, but that risk could mean a larger reward at the end of this run, especially if a caution comes out when they have to pit, and the guys who short pitted have the fresh tires, have the fresh fuel, and they have the advantage on the restart.
Yeah, but this battle up front is definitely not going away. The 62 has been latched onto that back bumper of the 87 for laps and laps on end. Just dozens of laps being run here. And oh, off of the corner, fighting that race car, trying to save it. But, yeah, if this keeps up, it'll be a pretty exciting finish to the end, and we might see a bit of bumper tap.
And like you mentioned at the top of the broadcast, Keaton Jones last week was running pretty well and battling with the man himself, the 87, who he's battling. And Glenn Bundren, Khalil Hankins, and Nick Miller, and he was making a charge up front until he had some technological issues with his computer that sent him out of the race, and he couldn't really run the rest of the race, and that really was heartbreaking for him. It was tough for him to end his race the way it did, but now he's looking for a little bit of redemption. We're approaching just 10 laps remaining in this race. We'll see if the strategy plays out. If a caution comes out, that could shake up everything. But right now, these two are the main focus when it comes down to this race win.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting one for sure. I'm just hoping that they don't get spread out, because this battle is heating up. And with just 10 laps to go, it's going to be a dead heat between these guys. This is the guy who's been dominating all season, and the guy who has less starts, but is still just as experienced. So these guys are going head-to-head here for the race win.
Well, the gap between them and what looks to be fourth place is just about 8 seconds. You're looking at J.J. Hill right now. That was Darren Myers and Jonathan Jones. Those guys are also lap cars who pitted, so those guys are working around each other. Not really sure. I don't think it was for position unless it's Jonathan Jones and Darren Myers. Those guys pitted together, so those guys will be in the same strategy. Whoa, look how loose the 62 gets off of turn 2. The grip is up, but even if you push the car, it can still try to go around on you, and that now bridges the gap even larger between these two. I'm not going to be surprised if the 62 works back up to the bumper, the 87, but we're approaching just 8 laps remaining here at Iowa. This is crunch time for these two.
Yeah, and I think, you said it's crunch time, and I think the 62 does realize that, and he's just trying to push the car as much as he can, trying to find just that extra bit of grip on the outside line that he can use to slingshot around the 87, but the laps are starting to wind down, and both of these guys are starting to realize that, and they're both going to give it everything they have. And right behind him we see the 21 car of Andy McDowell fighting to get his lap back. So like we said, when they short pit, get those fresh tires, they're running faster laps, and if Blaze McKinney and or Keaton Jones were to come down the pit road, that's they could lose that top spot to those short pitters.
Yeah, and you see Andy McDowell looking low to the 87 spot. but that kind of took away his lane for a period of time, and he had to work his way a little bit higher, just half a groove higher than what he's usually running. And we talked about how low he gets on this racetrack ever since the drop of the green flag. He really hasn't migrated to the top like most of these drivers have been able to. But it seems though it's working on this long run. He's still able to keep this lead. And even though he's working all the way down to the bottom of the racetrack, he hasn't really made a mistake in a very long time in this run. So that could be the beneficiary for that 87, which could possibly win him this race. Still 5 laps left to go before we decide this winner, 62. This battle really isn't over yet. You're looking at Parker White riding third.
Yeah, Parker White has made up a lot of ground. He's put himself in third, so a rebound from getting involved in a wreck earlier. So good run for him late in this race. But I think the Battlefield lead is starting to spread out. It's just over 7/10 over the 62 of Blaze Mckinney is. 7/10 over the 62 of Keaton Jones is the 87 of Blaze Mckinney. So just over a second. That gap is now over 2 seconds. It looks like he's coming down pit road.
Yeah, going down pit road with 5 laps remaining, and a weird call for that 62 of Keaton Jones. Looked like he continued to hold the race car under him, especially on those really old tires. Remember, they pitted a long time ago on that last restart, on that last caution, and we really haven't had a caution since, and this has been the longest run all night. But now look who's into second. That's Parker White. Unless Blaze Mckinney does not decide to pit, we approach 3 laps to go. We'll see what Blaze Mckinney does with that 87 race car if he decides to push it till the end. But these guys who short pitted, they decided to pit in the middle of this run. Now they're starting to pick up ground. Parker White, Keaton Jones falls back, and these guys are starting to make up ground. This could be the race for the win if the 87 runs out of fuel.
Yeah, it's just if the 87 runs out of fuel. Lots of questions being thrown out here, if or when something is going to happen. But Blaze Mckinney has put himself out front. Well, he's put together a pretty good race here at Iowa Speedway. Started on pole and got into a bit of a trouble on the first lap with the 62 of Keaton Jones. But we do see the 95 of Ryan Potter. I mean, not Ryan Potter. Parker White came down pit road. So, yeah, these guys are dropping like flies up here, and that's allowing people like Curtis Granger and Shane DiMantova, Ryan Potter, Jackson Hartman, all to move up into the top 5. But white flag here, presented by Eon Media. Blaze Mckinney has put himself out front here after getting into a bit of trouble early and midway through the race. But in the corner for the final time, looking for another win yet again, Kenneth.
He comes off of turn number 4. He'll take his 4th win of the iRacing Bundren Lawn Care Series. He stays out front on the strategy. He wins here at Iowa Speedway on a great race, and he wins for his mom, whose birthday is on Wednesday. So a good win for him tonight. He was able to keep his car strong throughout the entire run, fell back on the incident early in the race, came back up to the front of the field, had the battle with Keaton Jones, and looks like he is the victor here at Iowa Speedway. It looks to be great. Curtis Granger finishes 2nd. Shane DiMantova peeks into the top 3. He's able to keep himself there. He finishes 3rd tonight. Those are the top 3 here at Iowa. The 87 on the front straightaway, and how awesome is that for him after losing by just a couple of laps from Jackson Hartman from that win at Michigan. He picks it back up. He wins at Iowa. What a race for that 87. And we'll bring the results right now on your screen as they finished here at Iowa Speedway. Blaze Mckinney with his 4th win of this season. He picks it up right here, and he continues to grow the gap in the point standings, in the points lead. Curtis Granger finished the 2nd. Strong run. Looks like the pit strategy worked out for him. Shane DiMantova, after a strong run in the top 5, he finishes in the top 3. Then Ryan Potter, who had a really good points day, he finishes 4th tonight. Kelan Belsha with a top 5 in this race. A very good performance for him. Andy McDowell had a strong run early on, fell to 6th. He stays there. He finishes there. Dane Cruz, one of the guys, these 3 are the PPM guys. Dane Cruz, Caden Atkins, JJ Hill finishes 9th. Jackson Hartman, last week's winner, he finishes just inside the top 10.
Yeah, and that top 10 really shuffled in the last, stretch and the run here. But right outside the top 10, Ezekiel Reyes, I believe the first car a lap down, finishes 11th. The 041, or the 79, if you will, of William Schmidt finishes 12th. Jonathan Jones finishes 13th. And the one car Sartaj, man, one of those cars who I guess fell victim to that pit strategy, finishes 14th. Parker White finishes 15th. Again, he slid up to second there, but unfortunately just, I guess, had to go down pit road. So did Keaton Jones in the 62 car, finished 16th. Henry Tabor finishes 17th. Darren Myers 18th. Glenn Bundren 19th, 61 laps down. And Aiden Murray finishes 69 laps down. I think, yeah, all these guys are nearing the 100 lap down mark. Casey Drake finishes 21st. Colton Lights 22nd. Dylan Parker 23rd. And Mitch Hobbs 24th. Rounding out your field, I believe those last two people didn't start the race. They'll finish 24th and 25th. So, congratulations to Blaze Mckinney. Yeah, Kenneth?
Yeah, it was a great one for Blaze Mckinney. He takes another win over Keaton. What a tough situation for Keaton Jones. He went down pit road within those final 5 laps and set the stone for that 87 to take the checkered flag. We'll be right back with some interviews. We'll come back with the winner and the top, I believe the top 5. We'll get some top 5 interviews for you tonight here at Iowa Speedway. Blaze Mckinney, 4th win of the season in the iRacing Bundren Lawn Care Series. We'll be back. Stay tuned for interviews. Welcome back to Iowa Speedway. 151 laps completed, and the one who took the checkered flag at the end of the night was that 87 of Blaze Mckinney. We'll bring him into the booth from Victory Lane. First of all, welcome Blaze to the KBRN booth.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Blaze, another win for you tonight in the iRacing Bundren Lawn Care Series. Your 4th of the season. Tell us how that feels.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was just a fun race. Just had about everything that I could ask for. Just got wrecked on the first lap. We went a lap down. We had to get through all that stuff, and finally got back on the lead lap. And I got to give a shout out to Keaton. I had a ton of fun racing with him the entire race. It was really fun. And then at the end there, I was just saving fuel the entire last 30 laps. I was just watching my fuel, making sure I saved enough, and I ended with I think a lap left when I crossed the line, and had enough to do a little burnout. So it was just fun to have a little bit of a fuel mileage race.
Yeah, we saw that, and the tires wearing down with you and Keaton Jones, and boy, that battle was to watch between you two, back and forth between the two of you on the racetrack. And we saw you really didn't move up to the high lane. Apart from you really run that high lane, you were stuck to the bottom. Was that kind of a strategy you were playing? Maybe you were just a little bit more comfortable. How was that working?
Yeah, I was really liking the bottom the entire run. The whole race, I saw everybody was kind of stuck to the top, and I kept rolling the bottom, and I knew I could save tires down there, and I could make some time down there too. And I pulled a couple slide jobs too, so it was fun running down there. Then the whole last run, that's what I was using to kind of save fuel, just kind of roll the bottom and just kind of ease it through there, and I saved barely enough.
Well, Blaze, we mentioned on the broadcast that your mom's birthday is on Wednesday, and now that you picked up the win here tonight, how does that feel to get a win for her?
Yeah, happy birthday, Mom. I hope this is nice. I don't think we led the most laps, but hopefully we did. Just wanted to get the win for everybody out there, just my sponsors, the team, everybody. Just really fun race. Glad we got it done. I was really worried there in the beginning, went a lap down, all the troubles we had, but really fun to try to just work through the field again, and it was a ton of fun. Probably one of my favorite races this season by far.
Well, before we let you go, you got any sponsors, any teams you want to thank for making tonight happen?
Yeah, Crystal A Designs again for coming on the whole season. Follow them on Instagram. Check him out; he's a pretty cool guy. Bundren Lawn Care, Glenn for putting this series on every week. I love it. It's a ton of fun. Appreciate him for doing all that stuff. And Corey, PPM, have me on the team. It's fun racing for them every week. And iRacing Media for coming along.
Ablaze will let you celebrate in victory lane in the land of at Iowa Speedway. Congratulations on your 4th win of the season. We hope to see you next week at Charlotte. And we mentioned the All-Star race, and you'll be in the booth. So we'll see you there.
Yeah, that should be a lot of fun. I can't wait for that. Thank you, guys.
Blaze Mckinney comes out on top. 4th win of the season. He celebrates in victory lane tonight. We'll give another interview. Our 2nd place driver, that's Curtis Granger in the 77. After a tough night, he rebounds to 2nd. Charlie is there with the interview.
And into the booth goes the 77, Curtis Granger. Curtis, you got a copy with us?
Yes, sir, I do.
Well, Kurt, this is pretty surprising. You finished 2nd here with a pretty beat up race car. How'd you do it?
I don't know what happened. That whole last run was a complete blur to me. So I had my incident on like the first restart, the second start thing in the race on like lap 5, where I started in first gear thinking, yeah, I can get a good jump. And I wrecked myself and took out a couple people in the process. And never took my fast repair because I was going to wait until using it till the end. My car was screwed. It was underpowered. It was slow. It was tight. It was awful. And then on that last run, I was just slow. I was just letting people by. I didn't really think about it. I guess I was saving a little bit of fuel just being slow. And then everyone just started coming back to me because they all started really saving fuel. And I was just running my line on the bottom, which I was pretty quick with while also saving a good deal of fuel. And then I don't know how I finished 2nd. Man, I've lucked into so many great finishes in this series, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned, I think last week we interviewed you, that this is one of your favorite tracks. And do you think that really showed tonight with you?
Well, I didn't have a fast race car for very long, so I just kind of paced around. There's a point in that last run where I'm like, I want to park it. I'm just slow, but I didn't listen to my lazy self, and I continued going. Somehow I finished 2nd. I love Iowa, but I couldn't grasp it in the practice session enough to feel super confident. And then I was okay with just being slow, and then I finished 2nd anyways. So I'm looking forward to next week.
All right, well, Kurt, we appreciate you coming out here and racing with us tonight, and we'll see you next week in the All-Star race. 70. Well, we're running the Old Cup cars at Charlotte for the All-Star race, so we hope to see you there. But before we let you go, do you have any sponsors that you want to thank?
I just want to thank my team, VAG Esports. Follow us on Twitter at VAG ESPORT. Thank my teammates, Jackson Hartman, who was racing tonight. He finished 10th, but he was really fast all night. And Ryan Potter, who was, I don't consider him the greatest driver in the world, but he did a fantastic job tonight. So I got to say, great job to him. And yeah, that's all.
All right, well, Curtis, we'll see you next week, but until then, we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Curtis Granger citing himself outside of the booth in that 77 car, finishes 3rd tonight. Good performance for him. But next up on the interview list, we have Shane DiMantova running the number 20 Evo SimSport SPG Motorsports Toyota Camry. I'll give you this one, Kenneth.
All right, well, Shane, first of all, welcome to the KBRN Studios.
Yeah, I got you.
Shane, what a race you had. It seems as though you were running within the 5 for pretty much the majority of the race. How did the car feel out there, especially during that longer run?
First off, it's just a great feeling to be here in the KBRN studios after the race. Just happy to have a good race. But car, honestly, long runs, I was not good. I was really good on the short runs. But halfway through the long run, I checked my fuel, and I knew it was going to be close. So I just started saving, and obviously it paid off for me.
Yeah, well, before that run, you were really putting the charge to that top 5, and you're really keeping yourself up there within those guys. How was it out there with those guys battling? You think those guys kind of put some put some pressure when it comes down to utilizing the lanes, or how did that work?
Yeah, I mean, there's some really talented guys out here like Blaze and Zeke and Keaton. Like, there's a lot of talented guys out here, so I was just happy to run among them. And I mean, I felt like I was holding my own out there. I guess like I don't feel like I'm at a higher standard than them, but I was just happy, like I said, to have a good run and be up front.
All right, Shane. Well, before we let you go in the booth, have that third place finish in your hands. You got any sponsors or teams you want to
Yeah,
bring
definitely.
it to not happen?
Yeah, definitely. I want to thank Sim Performance Group, Evo Sim Sport, DJ Lion, Seth Rawls, Boosted, Track Racer, GG Bracelets, you guys for broadcasting this, and Glenn for doing this whole deal with the league.
Well, we appreciate your time in the booth, and every time we cross, it's always a good time talking to you. So, Shane, we'll let you celebrate your third place finish. We hope to see you down in the All-Star race. That'll be a lot of fun. We'll see you there, and good luck.
Yep, definitely. Thank you guys.
Shane DiMantova, top 3 tonight here at Iowa in that SPG number 20 Toyota Camry for Evo Sim Sport. And we'll take it down to 4th place where the number 99 Potter sits. He finishes 4th, and we're down with Charlie for the interview.
Into the booth, it goes to 99 of Ryan Potter. If I can drag him in here, oh boy. Kenneth, can you drag him in here for me?
Gotcha.
And into the booth, 95 of Ryan Potter. You got a copy with us?
Yes, I do.
Well, Ryan, a surprising 4th place finish for you. Yeah, I don't really know what to say. We haven't really seen you out front all race, so how'd you do it?
I stayed in the back and took my time because I knew it wasn't going to be very good tonight because I had pretty much no experience here and the track was very slick and I was not having fun with it. But I survived. I got fuel on that last caution and I just saved enough to finish it to the end.
And saving was the name of the game, but people like Curtis said they didn't really know they were saving. But did you on that last run? Did you know that you were gonna have to save in order to make it to the end?
Honestly, not until probably like 20 or 25 to go because like I kept looking. I was like, "Are we gonna have to save? Are we gonna have to save?" And they're like, "No, I think we're good." And I was like, "It's getting a little close." So I backed off a little bit and made enough to save. I think I was like 3 laps to the good at the end, so it was kind of nice to have that extra bit of fuel at the end.
All right, well, Ryan, we appreciate you coming out here and running the race with us here at Iowa, and we hope to see you. I believe you're 4th in points right now, so we hope to see you come next race, All-Star race at Charlotte. So until then, before we let you go, do you have any sponsors that you want to thank?
I just want to thank all the guys at VAD Esports. I know me and Kurt were running in the back of the pack for most of the race, and Jackson was up front, and we ran great races for the most part, all 3 of us, and so nice to have that.
All right, well, Ryan, we'll see you next week, hopefully, and until then, we wish you the best of luck.
Adios.
All right, now Ryan Potter citing himself outside of the booth in our final interview. A big surprise for both of us, Kenneth. Kelan Belsha, we're gonna give this one to you.
All right, we'll bring Kelan Belsha in here, and Kelan, welcome to the KBRN booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, the newly formed Instagram Buds Racing team had a good race tonight with you finishing the top 5. Tell us how your race went, first of all, and how that car really felt going down to the end with that fuel strategy.
Well, it was got a little bit of crash damage in the early going. I never used my fast repair though. It was on like lap 8 when we had that big pile up on the front stretch. I had it missed, but I think I was blinking and I got clipped and got about 20 seconds of optionals there, and I just got those throughout the race. Almost got lapped one time by the pace car, but then I decided to stay out because I had my buddy James Hill in my ear. He told me that lead a lap is eligible for the All-Star race, but then I asked Glenn about that right after I stayed out, and he said it's to win a race. So I stayed out for nothing, and I thought I messed up there, but then I pit 1 lap later, and that 1 lap ended up getting me to the end where I could push it. So that's how I ended up not having to save as much and ended up getting 5th out of it.
And you went through the field to get that 5th place spot on the fuel strategy. And a lot of guys really kind of handled the cars differently when it came down to the long run. Did you have any sort of things you noticed within the car going down that long run, especially as the tires started to wear down and the moon started to rise?
Yeah, right as the sun started to go down, that's when the long run kicked in. It was at lap 100. That's when we got the green flag run started. And it just started to get a little bit more grippy. The track got a little more grip in it, so I didn't have to, I wasn't slipping and sliding as much. I had a couple scary moments coming off 2 and 4 a couple times that I almost lost it, almost spun it out, but kept it under control, saved enough fuel to get to the end, and it's pretty awesome, top 5.
All right, Kelan. Well, before we let you go in the booth, out of the booth, you got any sponsors you want to thank for making?
Yeah, I'm gonna thank Eel Media. Eli's put together some great paint schemes this year. They look great on track. You guys at KBRN, all my teammates, Jack and JJ at IBR. Happy birthday to my mom. She had a birthday on Saturday, and happy Father's Day to everybody. It was pretty cool to be out here.
Well, happy belated birthday to your mom. She'll be pleased with that here at Iowa. And of course, thank you for joining us in the booth. We appreciate you coming down and taking the time to talk with us. And we hope to see you at the All-Star race and coming to Charlotte in the next race. So we hope to see you there. We wish you the best of luck.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
Keaton Belsha comes out of the booth. He finishes just inside the top 5. And that really pretty much sums up the top 5. And pretty much what a pretty good race we had here. We saw a mixture of both. We saw pretty much some breeding cautions happening during this race. And then we also saw the benefits of the long run and how that really affected, and also fuel strategy as well. What can you really take away from the first short track in a while that we'll see?
Yeah, I thought this was a really exciting race. Probably one of the best all season. I think it's up there with, We've had a lot of good races this season, but I think this is one of the best for sure. I had a lot of fun up here in the booth, and you know, it's a lot of fun watching these guys duke it out on old tires, and it's always fun to see some it's a fuel strategy. But I don't know about you, but I'm just like last week. I'm waiting for someone to dethrone the king, Blaze Mckinney.
Yeah, I think if Blaze Mckinney wins the next couple of races, we'll have to set up another bounty and have that happen once again in the season. But right now, we take a little break in the season. Of next week will be the All-Star race for the Bundren Lawn Care Series. That'll be at Charlotte Motor Speedway, utilizing the old NASCAR Cup Series cars. That'll be next week at, I believe, 9 p.m. Eastern, just like the rest of these races. And you won't be hearing us in the booth that time around. You'll be hearing Blaze Bundren. It'll be a driver's broadcast for them to have a little fun up here in the booth and call the race for next week. And we'll probably be racing ourselves. We'll have a little at Charlotte, and the week after that, then we'll go back to the real season, and we'll head to Charlotte Motor Speedway in the new Cup cars, and we'll have some fun down there. But if you want to catch more KBRN action here on the if you want to catch more action on the YouTube channel, you can look tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern. We'll have the LWC NASCAR Cup Series. They'll be live from Auto Club Speedway. That'll be at 3 p.m. Eastern. You can catch it right here on the KBueno Racing Network. And we're going to be signing off from here under the lights at Iowa Speedway. For all the drivers here in the iRacing Care Series, for Glenn Bundren, Blaze Mckinney, and everyone else there. For all of us here at KBRN, for us in the booth, Charlie Baier, my name is Kenneth Bueno, saying good night from Iowa. We go All-Star Racing next week at Charlotte. We'll see you there.